Hey everyone, welcome back. You know us, we're Henry and Sarah, and we're just so excited to have you here for another deep dive. But this time we're doing things a little differently. We're getting personal,
Yeah,
sharing some of the hard-won lessons we've learned from our own crazy startup journey about building products that people genuinely love.
you got it. We're not just talking about features and functionalities today. We're talking about creating something that truly resonates with people,
Yeah,
solves a real problem, becomes a part of their lives. You know that feeling when someone tells you they can't imagine their day without your product?
yeah.
That's the magic we're aiming for.
So let's unpack this. I think one of the biggest aha moments for us was realizing that building a beloved product starts with deep, genuine empathy for your users.
Mm.
It's not enough to just identify a problem.
Yeah.
You need to understand the people behind it.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about getting into their heads and hearts, understanding their motivations, frustrations, aspirations. Remember that time we were building our first productivity app?
Oh, yeah.
We were so focused on streamlining tasks and optimizing workflows, but user interviews revealed something completely unexpected.
Right.
People were craving a sense of community and shared purpose, not just another to-do list.
That was such a pivotal moment for us. We realized we were building the wrong thing.
Totally.
We pivoted hard, incorporating features that fostered collaboration and connection, and it completely changed the trajectory of the product.
It's amazing how a simple shift in perspective can make all the difference. We learned that day that sometimes the most valuable insights come from the things people don't say directly. It's about reading between the lines, observing their behavior, and really putting yourself in their shoes.
And that leads me to another crucial point, purpose.
Yeah.
Once you have that deep understanding of your audience, you need to laser focus on a single, well-defined problem you're solving.
Yes.
It's tempting to try to be everything to everyone,
Right.
but that's a recipe for disaster. We've been there.
Oh, we've been there.
We've got the scars to prove it.
100%. Products that try to solve every problem end up solving none effectively. Think about the products you love. They usually have a crystal clear mission.
Yeah.
They do one thing incredibly well, and everything else revolves around that core purpose. Take Slack, for example. They revolutionized team communication by focusing relentlessly on making it seamless and intuitive.
Right.
Or Airbnb, they completely transformed the travel experience by creating a platform for authentic, personalized stays.
And that clarity of purpose guides every single decision you make. It helps you prioritize features, make tough choices about what to include and what to leave out, and stay laser focused on your goals. Every new addition, every update, every tweak needs to serve that central mission.
Right.
It's like building a house. You start with a strong foundation, and everything else is built upon that.
And speaking of foundations, let's talk about simplicity. Now, I know this sounds obvious, but it's something we've had to relearn time and time again. It's not about sacrificing functionality. It's about delivering value in the most elegant, intuitive way possible. Think of it as removing all the friction, making the experience so smooth and enjoyable that people almost forget they're using a product.
And you know what? Simplicity is about sweating the small stuff. It's about those micro interactions, those subtle animations, that feeling of delight when you complete a task or achieve a goal. You know, like that satisfying swoosh when you check off an item on your to-do list.
Right.
Those tiny details add up to create a product people love to use.
Yeah.
We once spent hours agonizing over the loading animation for our app. And you know what? It made a huge difference. People actually commented on it.
It's amazing how much those small touches matter, right? But here's the thing, launching your product is just the beginning.
Totally.
Building a product people love is a marathon, not a sprint. And one of the biggest lessons we've learned is to embrace feedback, both the good and the bad.
That's so true. We used to think launching was the finish line,
Yeah.
but really it's just the starting point.
Yeah.
Great products are constantly evolving,
Right.
and that evolution is fueled by user feedback.
Yeah.
We've learned to be obsessed with it, digging into analytics, reading every review, actively seeking out user interviews. And let me tell you, user feedback can be incredibly surprising. Sometimes it leads you in a completely different direction than you initially planned.
Like that time, people started using our productivity app as a collaborative storytelling platform. We never anticipated that, but we listened, we iterated, and we ended up creating a whole new set of features that catered to this unexpected use case. Sometimes the best ideas come from the most unexpected places.
It's all about staying open, being willing to adapt,
Mm.
and remembering that building a product people love is an ongoing conversation with your users.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just building a product, you're building a relationship.
Speaking of relationships, one of the most important aspects of building a product people love is trust. Users need to know they can rely on your product, that it's secure, and that their data is safe.
We learned this the hard way early on. We had a minor security breach, and it shook our users' confidence. It took a lot of effort to rebuild that trust, being transparent about what happened, taking steps to improve our security, and constantly communicating with our users. We realized that trust is the foundation of everything. If you break that trust, it's incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible to earn it back.
Absolutely. It's about being honest, being transparent, and always putting the user's best interests first, even if it means making tough decisions or short-term sacrifices. Think of it like building a house. If the foundation is weak, the whole structure will crumble. Trust is that foundation.
So true. And, when you think about it, building a product people love is all about building relationships that last. It's about going beyond just functionality and creating genuine emotional connections. It's about making people feel something when they use your product. But how do you actually do that? How do you tap into those emotions and create a truly memorable experience?
That's where things get really interesting. One of the things we've learned is that personality goes a long way. It's about infusing your product with a sense of humor, a sense of delight, a sense of connection. Think about those playful loading screens in Duolingo or the celebratory animations in Trello. Those small touches create moments of joy and make the experience feel more human.
It's about going beyond just solving a problem and creating an experience that people want to be a part of.
Mm.
And I think one of the most powerful ways to do that is through storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
People love stories. They connect with them on an emotional level. Think about the brands you love. They all have a story to tell, a narrative that resonates with you and makes you feel something.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be this grand epic saga. Sometimes the most powerful stories are the simple, authentic ones. Share your journey, your struggles, your triumphs.
Yeah.
Let people behind the curtain, show them the human side of your brand.
And don't be afraid to be a little vulnerable. People connect with authenticity. Share your failures, your lessons learned, your moments of doubt. It makes you relatable and builds trust.
It's about creating a sense of shared experience, a sense of community. And speaking of community, I think that's one of the most powerful tools for building a product people love.
Yes.
A strong community can amplify your message, spread the word about your product, and even contribute to its development.
That's right. A thriving community can be your biggest asset, providing invaluable support, feedback, and advocacy. It's about creating a space where people can connect, share their experiences, and feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And you know what? Building a community starts with fostering a sense of belonging. Make your users feel welcome, valued, and heard. Create opportunities for interaction and collaboration, like online forums, social media groups, or even in-person events.
And remember, be responsive. Engage with your community, answer their questions, address their concerns, and show them that you genuinely care. It takes time and effort to build a strong community, but the rewards are well worth it.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
We've talked about the importance of empathy, purpose, simplicity, feedback, trust, emotional connection, storytelling, and community.
Okay.
Might seem like a lot, but these are all interconnected pieces of the puzzle. Building a product people love isn't about ticking off boxes. It's about creating a holistic experience that resonates on multiple levels.
And it's a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, twists and turns, moments of doubt, and moments of pure exhilaration.
Right.
But the most important thing is to keep learning, keep iterating, and never lose sight of the people you're building for.
That's right. And in the next part of this deep dive, we're going to get even more practical.
Yeah.
We'll be sharing specific strategies and tactics for bringing these principles to life. So stay tuned. All right, so we've laid the groundwork, talked about the big picture stuff. Now let's get our hands dirty and dive into some practical strategies for actually bringing these ideas to life. One of the first things we learned, and it's a classic for a reason, is the power of a minimum viable product, or MVP.
The MVP, your product's first step out into the real world. It's not about bells and whistles. It's about that core value proposition delivered in a way that lets you test, learn, and iterate quickly.
Exactly. And here's where I think a lot of people get tripped up. Building an MVP doesn't mean sacrificing quality or cutting corners. It's about focus. What is the absolute essential experience you need to create to validate your core assumptions?
We actually had a really interesting experience with this when we were building our scheduling app. We were tempted to include all sorts of fancy features, AI-powered time optimization integrations with every calendar under the sun, the works. But we took a step back and asked ourselves, what problem are we truly solving? And it boiled down to this: helping busy people find time to connect with the people who matter most.
So our first MVP was incredibly simple. It only allowed you to schedule one type of event, a coffee date, and it only integrated with one calendar platform. But you know what? It was enough to get it into the hands of real users and start gathering invaluable feedback.
And that feedback was gold. It helped us understand what people truly valued, what features were actually being used, and what we could safely leave on the cutting room floor for later. It's about starting small, learning fast, and iterating based on real-world usage.
And speaking of learning, let's talk about something we're both incredibly passionate about: design. And I don't just mean aesthetics, although that's important too. I'm talking about the entire user experience, how people interact with your product, how it makes them feel.
Design is the language your product speaks. Good design is invisible. It anticipates needs, it guides effortlessly, it makes the whole experience feel intuitive and enjoyable.
Think about the apps you use every single day without even thinking. Chances are they're beautifully designed, but more importantly, they just work. They make sense. You don't have to fight them. We've seen firsthand how investing in good design can elevate a product from okay to extraordinary.
And it's not just about big, sweeping design decisions. It's about sweating the details, the micro interactions, the subtle feedback mechanisms, the way things flow from one screen to the next. Remember how much time we spent agonizing over the onboarding flow for our social app?
Oh yeah, I thought we'd never get out of that design sprint. But it was worth it.
Hey,
We A/B tested different approaches, gathered user feedback, and ultimately created an onboarding experience that was both engaging and informative. And it made a huge difference in our user retention rates.
exactly. Design is an iterative process, just like building the product itself.
Mm.
It's about constantly testing, refining, and improving based on real-world data and feedback.
Right, so we got a solid product. It looks great. It works smoothly. Now, how do we get people to actually use it? This is where marketing comes in.
You can have the most incredible product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, it's going to be a well-kept secret.
Right.
Marketing is about telling your story, connecting with your audience, and getting people excited about what you've built.
And let's be real, in today's world, it's a crowded, noisy marketplace. It's harder than ever to cut through the clutter and get people's attention. One of the things we've learned is that authenticity is key. People can spot a fake a mile away.
We used to struggle with this, trying to craft the perfect marketing message, trying to be everything to everyone. But then we realized, you know what? People connect with realness. They connect with stories. So we started sharing our journey, our struggles, our wins, the things we learned along the way.
And it resonated. People were drawn to our honesty, our vulnerability. It made us relatable. It built trust. And that's what good marketing is all about.
It's not about shouting from the rooftops. It's about building genuine connections. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is through content marketing, creating valuable, informative, and entertaining content that your target audience actually wants to consume.
We've experimented with a ton of different content formats, from blog posts and articles to videos and podcasts, even interactive quizzes and games.
Yeah.
And the key is to find what resonates with your audience, what gets them engaged.
And remember, it's not just about broadcasting your message. It's about listening to. Pay attention to the comments, the questions, the feedback you're getting. Use that information to refine your strategy and create even better content.
It's about creating a two-way conversation, building a community around your brand. And that brings us to a topic that's often overlooked, but incredibly important: funding. You've got this amazing product, you've got a marketing strategy, but how do you actually fuel the growth of your startup?
Money makes the world go round, even in the startup world. And securing funding can be a daunting, often intimidating process. We've definitely had our fair share of sleepless nights poring over pitch decks and sweating through investor meetings.
But here's the thing we've learned. Investors are looking for more than just a good idea. They're looking for passionate founders, a strong team, a clear vision for the future, and a solid plan for how you're going to execute.
One of the biggest mistakes we see startups making is focusing too much on the product itself and not enough on the business side of things. You need to have a compelling story, a clear understanding of your market, a realistic financial model, and a plan for how you're going to generate revenue and achieve profitability.
And remember, fundraising is a relationship game. It's about finding the right partners who believe in your vision and are aligned with your values. It's about building trust and rapport, demonstrating your expertise, and showing that you're in it for the long haul.
And don't be afraid to tell your story. Investors are investing in people as much as they're investing in ideas. Let your passion shine through. Be authentic. Be vulnerable. We once had an investor tell us that he invested in us because he could see the fire in our eyes.
It's about connecting on a human level, building a relationship based on mutual respect and shared goals. And that's what building a successful startup is all about: building relationships. Relationships with your users, your investors, your team, your community.
It's about creating something bigger than yourself, something that has a positive impact on the world. And that's what we're going to dive into in the next part of this deep dive. We'll be exploring the philosophical side of building products people love, the impact you can have, and the legacy you can create. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We've talked about empathy, design, marketing, funding, but there's one more layer I think is absolutely crucial to building products that truly stand the test of time.
Yeah, you're right. We've covered the how, but now let's talk about the why. Why are we doing this? What kind of impact do we want to have on the world? This is where things get a little philosophical, but stick with us.
Because here's the thing, building a product people love, it's not just about cool features or a sleek interface. It's about making a difference. It's about solving problems that matter. It's about contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
Think about the products that have truly impacted your life. I bet they did more than just make things easier or more convenient.
Yeah.
They probably shifted your perspective, connected you to others, or even inspired you to take action.
That's the power of a product that has true purpose.
Yeah.
And that sense of purpose, it's infectious. It attracts passionate people. It fuels creativity, and it helps you weather the inevitable storms that come with building a startup.
Oh, absolutely. We've had our share of challenges, moments where we wanted to throw in the towel. But what kept us going was remembering why we started in the first place.
Yeah.
We believed in the problem we were solving. We believed in the impact we could have.
Yeah.
And that belief kept us moving forward.
So how do you actually build a product that has that kind of lasting legacy? I think it starts with asking yourself some tough questions.
Yeah.
What problem are you solving? How does your product make the world a better place? What impact do you want to have on your users, on your community, even on the planet?
These aren't easy questions to answer, but they're worth wrestling with because the answers will shape your vision, guide your decisions, and ultimately determine the kind of impact you create.
And, it doesn't have to be about saving the world. It can be about making someone's day a little brighter, helping them connect with loved ones, or simply giving them a tool that makes their work a little easier and more enjoyable.
Small acts of impact can ripple outwards. Think about the joy people feel when they complete a challenging level in a game you designed, or the sense of accomplishment when they achieve a goal using your fitness app.
We once received an email from a user who said our productivity app helped her launch her dream business. She was working nights and weekends, juggling family responsibilities, and our app gave her the structure and support she needed to finally take the leap.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That email, it meant the world to us. It reminded us why we do what we do, and it reinforced something we truly believe. Building a product people love is both a privilege and a responsibility.
It's a privilege because we get to create something that has the potential to make a difference in people's lives. And it's a responsibility because we need to be mindful of the impact we're having, both positive and negative.
We need to be intentional about designing products that are inclusive, accessible, and sustainable. We need to be mindful of our data practices, our environmental footprint, and the ethical implications of the technology we're building.
Because ultimately, the products we create are a reflection of our values.
Yes.
They're a statement about who we are and what we stand for.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with this. Building a product people love is an incredible journey. It's challenging, rewarding, and at times utterly exhausting.
Yeah, it can be. But it's also an opportunity to create something meaningful, something that leaves a positive mark on the world.
So go out there, embrace the challenge, and build something amazing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you learned a thing or two, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on building products that people truly love. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep making the world a better place, one amazing product at a time.